Your program will begin shortly. Launch sequence. Activate. Warning, the following content is not politically correct. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back today, everybody. This is another week of Transform to Freedom. I have an amazing guest, and I just realized this is episode 3, not episode 2, as it is in the byline. So I'll change that. But before I get to my guest, I just want to send you guys over. Remember, my website is sarahhigdon.com. You can go to links page, and you can find me across all social media platforms, all my appearances that I've done, different articles I've written, all my radio links, and then there's a donor box at the bottom. All the way down even to it's updated as of today with my radio interview that I did with Kim Klasick yesterday. So yeah, go check that out. That's sarahhigdon.com. And my guest today is my very good friend who has been so instrumental in me kind of creating content from the very beginning. Arielle Scarcella, welcome in. I think this is the first time you've
out loud. I'm so proud of you. What's going on?
I actually didn't hear what you said.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little offended that I wasn't the first person on your show. Instead, I'm the second person. I'm just a little. Man. I'm just kidding.
I think I had to weigh it out, like I was on your show last week, and so it was like, okay, well, I just started realizing you've been doing a weekly show, right? And we've never actually even done an interview on here, but my first video that we did, so my first video that got over 10,000 views was me and you, who we did the reaction video when we were at Outspoken Pride about the reaction to the MMA fighter. And that was the first video that really blew up. So.
I was in the room and I was like, Sarah, you were like, should I make a video? I'm like, you need to make the video now. And you posted it. I was like,
we need to put it out now.
And we put it up that night, right? I think, and it did well.
No, well, I thought it was really fitting because we made the video. I think we made it on a Saturday. The fight happened on Friday. We made the video on Saturday, and then we were getting ready to leave on Sunday. And we were sitting there, and I was doing the screenshot, like the thumbnail, and started editing. And it was me, you, and Blair were all sitting together at the hotel, and you guys ended up heading out. And I posted it that night, and that's when it was like, holy crap! And it was so good that we were actually on vacation because I wasn't looking at my phone constantly. But it was it's been
you need to be on your phone constantly. It just comes with the territory. Especially somebody like you who's
you kind of got to be off your phone. You got to kind of be off of your phone for your own mental health. A lot of times is what I'm finding out.
Yes, you need a break, but you have to pick up your phone every few hours and check Twitter and check what's going on. Oh my God, Trump was arrested. What the hell's going on with this?
Especially when you're doing when you're setting up live streams like this. I realize I'm doing it, and actually I've been doing because I've been working with Colin Wright for the last. Maybe a couple months now. It's been a couple months now. And I've been doing like the weekly reading list for him and kind of doing like the weekly recaps. And so that kind of forces me into knowing everything that's going on because I have to know exactly what it is. And I'm reading tons of articles anyways. So it actually helps.
Definitely.
But talking about doing content, that kind of brings me into the first thing I was going to bring up because I had a crazy weekend. Like I talked to you. When did I talk to you? I talked to you on Thursday.
I think so. Yeah, a few days ago.
Yeah, and so
I had you on my live stream a few days ago. So we're gonna catch everybody up with what's happening in the news.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I think it's important to let people know that we're actually going to respond to the comments. Like I have a little separate tab open just to talk to people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I know you.
Yeah. So yeah. Yep, I have it on. I have both tabs because I got the StreamYard and the Rumble chat rolling right now. So that's good. Yeah.
Yes, Mel. So, I do tend to influence people to make content. That's kind of my thing.
Yep.
LinkedIn.
Which actually, I remember I think I've told this story before. It was like because it was you and Blair that kind of influenced me the most to make content, and I had heard Blair White say, "Do what scares you." That's what Caitlyn Jenner's advice to her was.
Right.
And so I didn't like to be on camera. I hated hearing my voice, and so so being on camera scared me. And then you actually asked me to do a clip for one of your videos, and at that point, I had already been thinking about it. And I go, "Should I start a YouTube channel?" And you just go,
"The answer is always yes."
And that's what you say. You always tell everybody, absolutely.
Yeah, because everybody has a unique voice, and you have a unique perspective, and it needs to be heard. There's always going to be a good amount of people that agree with what you're saying, and even if they don't, they need to hear it because they might agree with it later on, or it might change their way of thinking on another topic.
And it's interesting looking back to see how much even just like my content has changed. Actually, you influenced me to get a new camera, and that's been better. But it's just like the way that even
just for the background, you changed your background. You kept sending me pictures. What about this background? What about this light? Everything looks good. It looks great.
It looks good. Yeah, I did. I flipped my whole studio around. It was good.
I remember.
Which you're going to get to see here in about 2 weeks now. So
2 weeks. Yeah, I'm coming to visit you.
Yay! I'm so excited.
We're going to go on a Sarah and Arielle adventure. It's been a while. When was the last adventure? What was the last adventure we did? Was it North Carolina?
David's house. No, David's house. I came down to visit you.
Oh, that's
right. We played pickleball.
That's right.
We went and played pickleball, and then we went over to St. Pete and hung out with David and them and Jonna.
That's right.
And saw Daddy's house.
Daddy's house. God, I miss her so much. The two of you make me crack up, but her specifically, everything about her is perfection.
Oh, and we had fun, and it's interesting because I don't hang out with a ton of trans people, but I'm actually making more trans friends, and everybody's a lot of people on our side of the aisle are all just very similar. We're all like to have fun and joke around. It's like the exact opposite.
Yeah, because we're not crazy people. And we just want to enjoy life and enjoy our friends. And we don't give a shit if you're actually trans or not. Like, we just love you, and we know that you're a sane person and you have a lot to offer the world. And you don't make us feel bad about ourselves. That's it.
Exactly.
You don't bully people.
And so, Michael is asking where you can find my interview with Kim. So actually, like I said, it's on if you go on my website, it's the very last tab, like the last link on my website. It's actually at the very bottom. And you can find it there. Or I posted it. I tweeted it out somewhere. Not actually on my page. Maybe I'll tweet that out. I'll just retweet her stuff, but I'll do something. But yeah, if you go on my website, you can find it.
I got it.
But yeah, so talk about the crazies though. So this weekend I had an event with. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I did an event with Chloe Cole in Pennsylvania, and I got there.
For people who don't know who Chloe is. For people who don't know who Chloe is, who's Chloe?
Okay, yeah, Chloe's the detransitioner. She's 18 years old. She started taking hormones at 13 years old, and then had a double mastectomy at 15 and detransitioned at 16. And so she's been she's kind of been everywhere in the news because she's suing her doctors now. And me and her have been doing a lot of events together. And after we were done, people were like we made. They were like, you guys have, our chemistry is very good, especially on stage together. So we always like to be on stage and talk. And
Leo Libra chemistry is good.
Yeah. Well, and so I get. Oh, is she? Oh, okay. I got to Pennsylvania at like 4:30. I think I got to my hotel room, and then the organizer of the event actually texted me and said, "We got to cancel." I'm like, we have to. I actually texted him back. I said, "You're joking me." I thought he was making a joke, and he said, "No."
Sarah, this is a good thing. This is how you know you made it. In your case, when they try to cancel your event, or they do cancel your event, and in my case, when they try to prevent you from entering the entire country of Australia.
Yeah. No, but you're absolutely right.
Like, how ridiculous.
Gun ranges with gays. Yes, gun ranges with gays and trannies. That's perfect, you know. That's the way to spend the weekend.
When Blair comes to visit,
but
me, you, her, and Jonna, we're all gonna shoot some guns.
oh my God, that would be so much fun. So yeah, it was interesting because it was that Antifa actually called, like, a local radio show host accidentally leaked the location on air the day prior to the event. And as soon as they did that, the local, like, Antifa started calling the hotel, like, immediately. And then the local police, I guess, said that because it was in a small town, they said, we can't protect you if something happens. And so, like, they didn't have enough force. And so the hotel canceled the event, and we were struggling to find a venue, and a church. I mean, it was so fitting. A church stepped up and ended up
But I thought religious people were bigots. I thought religious people were bigots.
I know, right? No, I mean, it was great. And honestly, it was so interesting. I said, it was extremely fitting that that's where it was. It was like, honestly, I actually said maybe God was protecting us, because to get us out of a situation that maybe something would have happened that would have been really bad.
Yeah.
And so it got us out of there. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I remember Blair was talking about it in one of her events. I think it was, I don't remember if it was the one in New York or California, whatever, but that they were like protesting and getting a little crazy. So I'm glad that you guys didn't have to get to that point.
Yeah, and yeah, it was absolutely insane. And so yeah, I mean, but we did I mean, it was fantastic. And it's so funny because you read stuff online and so many people, you start to realize, yeah, Twitter's not real life when it comes to people. I mean, I have MAGA conservatives coming up and giving me a hug after speaking and everything like that. And they're just, it's so open and raw, and the questions are amazing, and people love coming out. And yeah, me and Chloe, like we like I said, we make a really good team. Like you said, our energies match, so it's perfect.
and it's something that people would never expect, right? It's a detransitioner who doesn't hate trans people, and a trans person who doesn't hate detransitioners. Because
exactly, I mean,
it's a beautiful union, and it's a beautiful example of how two things can be true at once. People can make mistakes with transitioning, and people can also make the right choice with transitioning. And both of those stories are important to tell, and you're both telling them perfectly.
Exactly. And this is, Michael says, it's bad when Christians and LGBT find themselves partnering with each other. That's how bad trans ideologues have gotten, and turning historical enemies into present day allies. It really is true. And actually what you said earlier, so when I actually put this, I actually said it in my speech. I said, when you're over the target, or when you're over the target and taking fire, or when you're taking fire, it generally means that you're over the target and you're making an impact. If we weren't having an impact, if they actually had anything to counter what we were actually saying, they wouldn't be trying to cancel us like that. They know that we are a threat because
they're always trying to cancel everybody else. They're always trying to drag people down. They've never been good at actually being creative and creating their own organizations or their own movements. They're always just about canceling.
That's why they hate free speech. That's why they hate free speech, because I love free speech.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I love free speech. I was like, I love free speech because when you can easily shut down any argument, and they show themselves for who they are. They need to shut down our arguments because they have nothing to combat it with. So.
Exactly. And the same thing goes for what they're trying to do with all the historical figures. They're trying to rewrite history.
Yep.
They're trying to cancel, knock down statues, where to me, that's the worst thing that you could possibly do is forget history. You have to learn from history. And these types of people are doing everything but.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was the other thing that happened this weekend too, which was, I mentioned Kim Klacik, but it was crazy because the reason I was on Kim Klasik's show is this tweet went viral. Like it went
I remember this too.
Viral. And so she just asked, why aren't kids in the hood transitioning to the opposite sex? And I just responded, I said, well, because the typical demographic is upper middle class white kids of progressive parents, for two reasons. They had the time and money to worry about such things, and have been conditioned through critical theory that they are an oppressor and there's no way that they can escape that oppressed status. So they see this as a way to join an oppressed class for which they are celebrated instead of condemned. It's a relationship between CRT and queer theory. And this is actually a screenshot that got 2.6 million views. So it got over like 5 million views total.
Good. And what a lot of people aren't realizing,
it was perfect.
Also, what she said, kids in the hood aren't transitioning, and they're not creating these 75 genders of the week. People forget that Black and Hispanic families, generally speaking, are more conservative leaning. They tend to be more religious. You know, it's just a culture thing. People forget about that.
And that's what
you go into the South.
I mentioned it there. Oh yeah, if you're in the South, it's
99% of
Black
people in the South. Yeah, and 99% of people in general at the South are Republican conservatives. You know, but specifically Black families, and that we already know that this is the truth, because just speaking about the LGBT community in general, right? What is the number one target for LGBT in the LGBT community? Who is the number one target for LGBT homelessness? I don't know if you know this, but it's Black and Hispanic youth. Yeah, it's Black and Hispanic youth. So black families generally are not as accepting of LGBT people as white people are. They do lean more conservative in a lot of ways.
They do tend to be more religious, like you said, and very Christian. Most are very Christian, and then there is some sects that are more Muslim as well. But it is interesting. But I also think, I mean, some of it has to do with the religion aspect. But I do think, I think what Matt Walsh showed in What Is a Woman when he actually went to Africa, that if you,
I remember the guy was like,
you don't have the time. Yeah, you don't have the time nor the money or resources to worry about such things. It's like P. Diddy said, more money, more problems, right?
It's true. It's true. They're creating.
You make up your own problems,
which is the ultimate privilege, isn't it? But people on the far left and the woke activists do not want to know that. They want to believe that. Well, I'll give you a perfect example. One of my old friends, this is going back from when I was like 18, 19, literally, when I first came out of the closet. My friend Nikki recently came under fire for posting about Trump on her New York lesbian page. It's like a New York lesbian party. It's like the only lesbian party left in New York City is the one that this woman produces. And she posted something about Trump. She got a shit ton of hate. She contacted me. She's like, help. I'm like, I got you. And I looked to see who the people that were hating on her were. Of course, it was 20 to 30-year-old, very wealthy or middle-class white women every single time. Because the truth is, Black people don't hate Trump. Most Black people love Trump. Everyone, most Hispanic people love Trump, especially the people in Florida. And it's always the white people that are upper middle class or even upper class that are finding faults with everything possible, because their life is an actual life of privilege, and they have nothing to worry about themselves, that they're worrying about potentially hurting other people's feelings. You know,
that's even I don't even liken this to as much to race either, because I don't think a lot of white kids that live in the hood, like poor white kids, are transitioning. I would actually probably say even young minorities in affluent areas are probably transitioning more than anybody that's in the hood. So it's not as much it's more of a class thing, I think, than a race thing, period. But like you said, that there still is that dynamic of people being more Christian, and a lot of a lot of the white progressives are not people of faith anymore.
Right.
And so that's why, again, it was super fitting that we were in a church.
Perfect.
The Lord provides.
The Lord giveth. The Lord giveth.
The Lord can take it away, though, too.
The Lord can take it away, too. Jesus loves you, though.
Says Matt Walsh.
We can talk about Matt Walsh for a minute if you want. There's some shit that he says.
He only spoke with the extreme conservative elders and the Messiah. So that's apparently, the people that he spoke with in Africa were just the extreme conservatives over there. But I still, I mean, I think it would it's probably still the same type of thing. It's not, you're not going to see it anywhere really in Africa, except for in like the affluent areas of like South Africa and stuff. You're not going to see it nearly as much as it is. It's not trendy. It's not like the same type of thing.
No.
But yeah, I mean, Matt Walsh is an interesting topic, right? Because I disagree with him on so many different things, but
so do I. I still follow him because I think he's very intelligent. Yeah, but I think he says a lot.
You have to give him credit for that, though. Yeah, I think you have to give him credit for that. The documentary was very well done because he wasn't interjecting a lot of his opinions. He was asking people, and again, it's the free speech thing. You just ask people and let them put it out in their own words and let them make a fool of themselves, or at least show you who they really are.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. No, that documentary was fantastic.
Yeah.
You're okay.
But okay, so we got another topic. I don't know. Where were you? No, where were you when this happened? 20 years ago today.
20 years ago, I don't want to give away my age, but
well, you're a year older than me, so I remember watching this live on TV though.
I was in high school. I'll just say I was in high school. I remember where I remember where I was on 9/11, which was crazy. I remember where I was.
So I remember when this happened.
Yeah, I remember all of this very well.
The initial invasion of Iraq began 20 years ago today, and this was the shock and awe campaign that we all watched live. And
beneath all of this, emergency teams raced across the city.
Let me tell you something. There was a lot of messed up shit that was happening in the United States overall there.
Yeah.
There was the neighborhood that I live in now. The neighborhood that I live in now, back then was primarily Arabic, Muslim, Arabic, whatever you want to call it. The different people.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. I literally, and people call me racist, whatever, but I saw this with my own eyes. So don't tell me what I saw. But they were literally partying in the streets in this neighborhood when this happened. So there's a lot of people that came into this country that were very anti-American, or maybe they were just pro their own country. I don't know, but it was fucked up. Now it's very different. I don't think those same people would cheer now because now they know that they're living a better life in America. But back then, they were just still very much, this is my home, this is my country. I'm going to stand up for my country. Fuck America, even though I'm living here. But yeah, they were very happy.
You mean when 9/11 happened?
In the streets. When 9/11 happened, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were partying in the streets. Yep, they were.
Yeah, I remember there was a lot of flag burning and stuff happening at this time town. But it's really interesting because I've gone such full circle when it comes to the Iraq War and how I view war. I've become very much anti-war. I'm more of an isolationist now, because I've said this. I was a neocon after 9/11. I was very much somebody who thought we should have invaded Iraq. We thought that they had weapons of mass destruction and all this stuff. And it took me until about 2015, serving in the Army for 5 years. And they were teaching me to see big picture foreign policy. And I looked at the map and not how to actually invade a country. And I looked at the map and I realized that Afghanistan is over here and Iraq is over here and Iran's in the middle. The reason why we went into Afghanistan or into Iraq was to have a strategic position on Iran. And then you see ISIS, come to power, and you start to realize, when you start to do research history, you realize it's just history repeating itself. We've destabilized the region for so long that that's the reason why we continuously radicalize these people to commit crime like this stuff against us. And that's how bin Laden himself was radicalized by our invasion or our involvement in Saudi Arabia. And so you just start to realize we shouldn't be intervening, in other people's problems. That's why I'm very much like, no, we should not be, sending Ukraine
$200 billion.
anything. We shouldn't be sending them anything. It's not our problem. It's really not. I mean, I'm a minarchist, so I believe that we need to have a standing military to defend our borders and bring all of the troops within our own borders, and we don't need to have people spread everywhere around the world. And that's basically it. And since that time, I think most of the country is kind of in that mindset. I mean, when you see somebody like Dan Crenshaw kind of be like when Alex Stein was going after Dan Crenshaw, calling him neocon, the neocon position and the Warhawk liberals, like those positions are now the minority in Congress, it seems. And until we start funding Ukraine, it's it flips back and forth. Where are you at with that, though? I mean, what do you think about foreign policy, I guess?
I don't know. I've heard both sides. I tend to want to agree with your side, but I've heard that the reason people are getting the reason our people are getting involved is because it will give us an upper hand in the world overall. And I think that's a fair assessment. Like, I think that makes sense. And it really just, it's one of those things where you have to just see how it plays out, I think. Right now, I don't think, I'm not sure if the money, first of all, we don't even know where the hell the money's going, right? We don't know where the money's going in Ukraine. Like $200 billion, and I feel like nothing's gotten done. I also, I can understand, of course, I can understand why we sent, we basically wanted to intervene because otherwise Russia's going to become a stronger power. And then, of course, China's going to go after Taiwan and whatever it was, and Hong Kong and stuff. But I don't think, I mean, ideally, I think everybody should just stick to themselves because for the most part, if they wanted to leave their country, most countries allow that, right? There's a lot of people can travel, right? But I think from what I understand, people telling me about politics and such, I'm not well versed in that topic, but I do understand that a lot of those people, somebody said Ukraine isn't my problem, they're not an ally. Here's the thing, I have a friend that's Ukrainian. I do have a friend that's Ukrainian, and my friend Stephanie from 90 Day Fiance, and she told me that there is in fact a lot of corruption in Russia and in the Ukraine, which is very true. There's that corruption in both, and
so I mean, just remember Burisma was the big thing during the election, and Burisma is the reason why Trump was impeached the first time, was because he was looking into Hunter Biden's involvement in Burisma, which is a natural gas company in Ukraine, which is ironic that Ukraine runs out of heat in the wintertime every year. My roommate, actually, I don't want to talk about that, but they run out of heat every. I don't want to talk about my roommate on stream, but she tells me a lot of information from that region as well. But there's a lot of you realize they run out of heat every year in the wintertime, and they biggest producers of natural gas in the world, and so you kind of see some of that corruption and everything.
Yeah, it just feels like it's poorly run.
Yeah, when I was at that anti-war rally. So when I was at that anti-war rally in DC, and Ron Paul and Tulsi Gabbard and everybody was there, one of the biggest themes was that Russia started an illegal war because all wars are illegal. I think that's what Jill Stein actually said. All wars are illegal, but this war wasn't unprovoked. I think that's what people don't realize is the Bush Senior in the early 90s actually said that they made an accord that they would not push east of Germany. NATO would never expand east of Germany, and now they basically have rockets in Poland which can reach Russia. So like that's kind of again how NATO itself has kind of provoked a response for Putin.
Yeah, no,
there's no good guys in this situation.
I agree with that. I think everyone's making Putin out to be the bad guy, but people don't realize that this. I do think that it's Biden's fault that he did what he's going to do now, but either way, he would have done it eventually, because it's been he just didn't do it during Trump because he was afraid of Trump, I think. But I had these two friends who were from Houston, and they actually think Putin, I mean, they don't know him as a person, obviously, but they think the reason he's doing this makes a lot of sense.
I took like a month to figure out what my stance on this whole thing was. And that's kind of when I saw like the reasoning. You learn that Ukraine, there was a coup in 2013. It was a U.S. and NATO backed coup. Prior to 2013, they had a pro-Russian president, and then they basically ousted him with a coup. And they've been fighting in the Donbass, like there's been a civil war in the Donbass region since then. And so basically, like Zelensky and then whoever the president was before him have basically been murdering and killing their own people for the last 8 years or whatever that is. It was 10 years. And so honestly, I like, if they're pro-Russian in that region, you guys have been in a civil war, maybe you just give that region to Russia and call it a day. Like, if you can negotiate that out, like you've been killing them. You've been shooting at them. Why do you want them to stay in your country? Let them go, I guess, Yeah, it's crazy. Let me see. Yeah, over on Rumble, 3MM says it was before Zelensky is a U.S. stooge, and I think that's true. And when you look at Soros, George Soros has been funding Ukraine since the fall of the Soviet Union. So you start to see where the money flows, and you're like, okay, I can see how this is kind of working right now and why we're so supportive. I actually think we might be so supportive, especially in the U.S., because if we don't give them money, then they will leak secrets about Burisma, the stuff that Trump was actually wondering about. So that's kind of how they had the Biden administration kind of caught up in all this.
Yeah, a little blackmailing.
But yeah, speaking of blackmailing, on to our next story.
That
is it actually is a really good segue.
Nice segue.
Donald Trump says he expects to be arrested for and actually calls for protest. And do you know why he said why he might be arrested?
I have no idea.
Okay, so actually, let me see.
I've been busy all week in my condo.
Yeah. Oh.
But I will say, like, all of my friends that are secretly Trump supporters, but not like outwardly vocal about it, like you and I are, have been texting me, and they're like, "Trump getting arrested?" And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know.
So let me see if this is better. Okay, so you can see Trump claims that he claimed on Saturday that his arrest is imminent and issued an extraordinary call for supporters of protest as the New York grand jury investigates hush money payments to women who allege sexual encounters with the former president. So this is the Stormy Daniels situation. If you remember in 2016, Stormy Daniels was coming out and he apparently Michael Cohen, his lawyer, paid them hush money to keep quiet about this alleged affairs that he was having with these I want to say that they were porn stars, and so that was basically blackmail. And so now there's a grand jury that's possibly going to indict him, and he claimed on where is it? There's a picture of it. I thought he put a message out on True Social that he was going to be arrested. He expects to be arrested because of this. I thought I had a picture of it.
I'm sure there's a picture somewhere.
Yeah. But what's really interesting about this is, again, he's calling for protest. And a lot of the internet is like, this is a setup.
It's another January 6th. I'm like, calm down.
That's what it is. It sounds like this is the
media's
gonna
twist it
the way that he's saying it. It's like, why would you urge them to go protest? Because again, it's going to be a crowd.
Last time he did that, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a crowd. There's gonna be a ton of feds in the crowd who are gonna be
Right.
urging people to commit crimes, and then they're going
Right.
to get a bunch of people
Use
arrested.
it
It is.
as
They are trying to set up a January 6th
Oh yeah,
situation, and
100%. That's
actually,
exactly what they're trying to do.
Luke Rudkowski posted this video, and this is New York City this morning. They are
Potential riots.
Well, they're expecting protests. And so if they're doing this, that's kind of a foregone conclusion that Trump probably is going to get arrested. And the problem is, now it depends on how they do it. If they perp walk him, if the police perp walk him, they should be charged with incitement of a riot, honestly.
Right.
Like if you're going to arrest a former president,
is he still trending? He's still trending. Trump Tower. Let's see.
Trump Tower, and then President Trump is trending in politics,
and Trump is a Floridian.
He's trending with indict Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, he is. He's still trending. But that's the thing is, if they perp walk him, that is going to be it's going to be a media frenzy, and that's going to be it's a sham because it's just for show. They're literally just doing it so that they can get the look at what we did, media clicks. Whereas if they have him and they take him out the back and they take him to the station, or they have him come into the station, then it would be a different story, and then he'd probably get out. But I think this is just kind of setting up, and the fact that they're kind of playing it like this, it's really not a good sign. Yeah, I think again, they're trying to incite something. They're trying to incite another January 6th so that they can.
To me, I feel like Trump needs a better PR manager. He needs somebody like you and you or I, you or me or you. He needs somebody like me or you.
Me. You or me, I think. Yeah.
What's the right way to say English? You need somebody like me or you to be like, listen, like they're setting you up. Like we see, I don't understand unless he just doesn't listen to his PR manager. And he just does whatever the hell he wants.
I also am wondering if he's setting him. This is when you really put on the tinfoil hat and go, is he actually kind of behind this?
Yeah, he's smart enough. I'm wondering. Yeah.
It's 4D chess, Arielle. It's 4D chess.
Maybe he wants to incite this so he can be like, look, these people are setting me up again. Why would you trust them? I don't know. Who knows?
Well, the whole. Actually, yeah, this is exactly what I was going to say. If Trump is arrested, he'll get more support. This person said they'll vote for Rob Paul, but people want to remove the establishment. And I think that's exactly what it is. This would actually give him support. It would ignite his base, which is starting to move over to DeSantis right now, I think. So this would actually boost him quite a bit.
That's very true. This might. I think he's smart. I think he's done dumb things in the past, but I think he's starting to smarten up, which is why I take back what I said. I think he is a very smart guy, and he's a New Yorker, so he's slick too.
But but the whole thing, though,
yeah.
But the whole thing, like the one area I think he's misstepping is the whole protest, because the whole. Go make your voices heard, have a peaceful protest. That's not what the media is going to run. The media is going to spin it and to be like, Trump incited a riot. He needs to be impeached again, or he shouldn't be allowed to run for president again. And I think that's one area. Now, I had an interesting thought about this when I saw this, though, too, because I don't think we've ever had a former president go to prison or jail. But like, how does that work? How does that work with the Secret Service?
I don't know.
I mean, do they get like their own wing of a prison, and he just gets to hang out with his Secret Service people all day?
Probably. I mean we already know that people. There's a plethora of people that get special treatment already that don't deserve it. So why not the president? An ex-president of the United States.
Well, if anything, that's the thing. Well, so all ex-presidents have Secret Service for life. And so even if he's in jail, he's still got to be protected, though, right? I would think. And actually, Melly Babe on Rumble actually said it was right. And this is actually the right word. It would make him a martyr of sorts if he was perp walked.
Yeah,
like he would become the martyr in the face of it. Yeah.
That's my friend Mel. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, and actually, 3MM said Orange Man is actually setting up the glowies. Yep, absolutely. That's what we're saying. It's like you got to be careful because. Okay, so the term glowy is it's something that refers to people that are like the feds, like the CIA. I don't exactly know exactly where it came from, but if you Google it, it's like when the CIA, when they were doing like experiments on like nuclear reactors and stuff like that, it was the CIA's like secret experiments that they were doing. And so people used to say that they glowed because of all the nuclear waste that was on them. And so that's when if you ever hear somebody use the term glowy, or you hear them say you glow like a fed, that's exactly what they're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, it's a term that let me see.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah, let me see. The Wiktionary, let's see. Okay. If you tap on StreamYard. Okay, so the term glowy was stated in 2017 in a not gonna say that word, but the CIA glow in the dark.
Yeah.
The CIA glows in the dark, implying that they are conspicuous. The term glowy would be more popular on 4chan boards. Yeah, that doesn't make sense, though. Let me see.
I understand what they're trying to say, though. It's just a way of recognizing a certain person.
I guess it's a slang term that came from, it came from 4chan.
Interesting.
What's on your fridge, Arielle?
On my fridge? Nothing. Nothing's on. No, nothing's on my fridge. Not yet. Nothing yet.
Okay, so
I did paint the wall black.
Is a term from a software developed CIA's glow. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of, a lot of people, I think we got to know who Ray Epps was in January 6th. And to figure out, like the Fed was there kind of pushing a lot of this stuff because Ray Epps was never charged, and yet he's on video the day prior saying we're going to go into the Capitol and all this stuff. And I don't know. I guess I'm becoming more conspiracy pilled like by the day. It's not even funny.
Wait till we hang out and I make you watch the video series that I made one of my friends watch recently. That's gonna happen when I see you in a few weeks.
Okay, what video series is it?
Can't say it out loud.
Is it it's a surprise? Okay.
It's not a surprise. It's because I'm fearful for my life if I talk about it out loud. I would like to live till I'm 35.
Yeah, I have a hard time keeping secrets sometimes. I am one of these people. I guess I'm too open.
We're gonna watch it.
What's that?
We're gonna watch it when we hang out. I'm sure you probably know most of the stuff already, especially since you were in the military. Some crazy shit's been going on, but a lot of deep state stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then going back to like the Iraq War and stuff like that. There were so many war crimes that happened during that time, and nobody's been arrested for it, and nobody's even been fired since the debacle that was the Afghan withdrawal. It was nobody that's like in with the gets arrested for stuff. But let me see. And this doesn't have now. We'll do a hard segue into the next thing, and this is kind of our cultural update for the week. Not really political news, but we're gonna talk. Let's look at. Have you In this, let me see.
No, I haven't seen this one.
Put it on the screen. There we go. Another, yeah.
Right,
so this trans woman wins his 8th women's title in Italy. I think that's it breaks the record. So I guess that's a record. So
okay.
Let's see.
Gee, I wonder how that happened. Did you see the video
Yeah,
that I think I
posted?
I don't know if I posted on Twitter. Or I might have posted it on my personal Facebook page today. I'll send it to you after we end the stream. But it was a video compilation of all the times men have beaten women in sports.
Oh.
And a lot of the times it's teenage boys beating professional women. Like the teenage boys soccer team has beaten professional women's soccer teams. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think I talked to when I was actually on our show last week with Carrie. We were talking about, you know, how I've mentioned this a few times on different stuff. Is like a U15 boys soccer team beat the world's women's team, like the women's World Cup team, and
you might have been the one that told me
because
that.
the advantage gets the like puberty happens so quickly in males. Like the advantage gets there so quickly that it's just, and you can never erase it. That's the problem, you know. But that's, yeah, so this is from Not the Bee, actually wrote this, so. But let's.
Quinta, sesta, quarta corsia. Sanulli, Petrillo.
You understand what they're saying, Arielle?
Sanulli, Petrillo.
Oh my God, look at the size.
Petrillo sul finale.
The crazy thing is that this person didn't even win by that much, but you could still see how much bigger and stronger that person is.
No, exactly. It's, I mean, and that's when they take the pictures and all that. I think there is a picture. Actually, it was, yeah. We got much taller. It's like, there was also another video of a relay this week where the person.
That one I saw.
Was like,
the Hodge twins.
Yeah.
And their comments are everything.
Where it was like, oh, hey, the Hodge. That's where I saw it. Yeah, like
she kept looking back like, bitch, you're not
like,
here yet.
I better slow it down, otherwise I'm gonna make this look too obvious.
Keith and Kevin, I can't. Their comments are hilarious. That was a good one too, but it's the truth. The whole video, like not the whole video, but the whole very beginning, the beginning part of the video, that the trans woman keeps looking behind, like, I thought she was supposed to be here by now. Like, clearly the trans woman's used to racing with men.
Yeah, like.
And then you go down a level, or you're going where I don't want to say down a level, but technically you are, right? People aren't going to perform as well because we don't have the same hormones in our bodies. Our bone density and all that stuff is different.
Yeah.
No wonder why people
I know you've
crashing records.
You've kind of been one of the biggest ones to kind of expose a lot of the trans, like especially in trans women and women's sports. It's like, it's just so ridiculous. Like how do you think that that's fair? And this is the thing is I see the sports organizations are kind of going in one of two directions. Either now they're going in like full self-ID, like U.S. rowing went full self-ID, or they're completely banning. There's like not even very much of a middle ground anymore on it, which I don't think there should be. I think it should be a ban, But actually, yeah, this is the one. I mean,
well, here's the thing. So since I'd like to comment on this comment. So this person said trans people deserve their own league. Interestingly enough, trans people did have their own league, and it was done by the NHL, right? This was maybe 5-6 months ago. The NHL created.
It was a few months ago, yeah.
A few months ago, the NHL, which is my favorite league, the National Hockey League, they created their own league for trans and non-binary people, and the same, just exactly what you would expect to happen had happened. A trans woman, I think, checked lightly a trans guy and knocked the trans guy out.
Yeah,
because guess what?
Huge concussion into the boards, yeah.
And the trans guy is still a biological female, and they went through male puberty and female puberty. You're gonna have significant advantages or disadvantages in that way. And we don't care if it's not even the fact that, you know, that's, oh, there's a trans league now that's going to be perfect. No, that you're still going to come to the same type of problems, which is that biological males, generally speaking, have way more advantages than females if they have gone through male puberty.
I don't mind the trans league like that as much, especially like with the trans men. If they've been on testosterone for a little while, they might be getting that advantage to a little bit closer like it might get a little bit closer if they've been on hormones for a little bit. And actually, I think especially like in that tournament, you're right. I mean, it was interesting, but that person also knew that they were stepping up into a league that biological males were playing. It's kind of like a woman going and playing on the men's league. Yeah, right. Choosing to go into the men's league. So I still agree with that type of setup if you're going to choose to go play.
No, I agree with it. I agree with it too. I'm just making the point that the same shit is going to happen. Yeah, biological males.
No, you're absolutely right.
Right. No, I think trans leagues are great because it's giving people that wouldn't be able to play at other leagues the chance to play, and it's also giving people the choice: do I want to compete as a trans guy as a female with a biological male trans woman? Like, whereas in other leagues that's not happening. The biological females are not given the choice. They just have to deal with it. And I mentioned something like that in my video on my video that I posted yesterday. It's interesting because these trans women that are always complaining about these types of things, like why aren't I allowed to play in this league, and how come I'm a woman, how come I can't do this, and this? And it's like most of society and most of these businesses, and you spoke about it too recently, most of the businesses in society in general are currently on the sides of trans people, right? They don't want to be called bigots, they don't want to get canceled, whatever. And interestingly enough, it's that person that calls themselves a woman, even if they are legitimately transgender, even if they are presenting as a woman, whatever, they're still experiencing male privilege in a very unique way. And I think that's something to be mentioned.
Absolutely. Well, and that's what's really interesting is because you want to erase privilege, male privilege and toxic masculinity, but that's what's making trans people look bad is the males who are acting like men, like the worst kind of
like
men.
It's people.
Yeah,
the worst.
It's awful. Yeah. And that was actually, remember last week on your show, we showed a video and then I found out that person had been like redeemed. Like,
yes, there was somebody we talked about. There was somebody that we spoke about last week, and I don't remember what they were saying, but it was.
They were yelling at the Popeyes. Yeah.
That's
and it was
right.
just
okay.
awful.
It was a fast food. Yes, they were yelling at the fast food people. I have big tits. How could you call me a sir? You're calling me a sir. Blah 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 blah. Turns out, interesting. It was an old video, which is good because they all had COVID masks on and stuff. But you made a great point, which is something that I probably need to be more aware of, which is checking up on people that I am criticizing, because a lot of people's views have changed since then. And it turns out the person I criticized on the stream follows me. So that's how you know that trans woman has actually woken up, and it's a great thing.
Yeah. And that's what I actually saw. Yeah, we came off of that, and I was like, "How old is this video?"
Yeah, I was like, the COVID mask should be away.
Well, but like you said, there are still places that are wearing the masks in different areas of New York and stuff like that. And so you don't know, but I was like, I got off of there and I saw somebody else commented on the main post, and I was like, wait a second, this person I follow and they follow me. I'm like, wait a second. Their complete character arc has been to come to our side, which is it's awesome to see people waking up like that and kind of acknowledging that they were not in a good place at that point. And it really does give you hope. And then I was like, I felt bad because we were talking,
I know. No, I think I followed her.
But the problem is,
I think I went to follow her.
Yeah, because the problem is that's what I don't like about some of those accounts. And actually that account that we were watching ended up getting suspended from Twitter.
Laura Hobbs is her name.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like, I was like, but she has to live that video so much. And that's what I don't like about the internet sometimes.
Which is why I followed her,
Yeah. Well, but even like, remember there was a video that was going around like a month ago of Lady Gaga back in like 2010. Like she was having somebody puke on her when she was playing the drums or something. It was really just
Yes,
a
I
weird
remember that.
video, but it was 10
Right.
years old.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's still a little weird. I
But
don't know
that's
why you'd want somebody to puke on you. But yes,
that
I
it
agree.
was. But that was also when she was doing all sorts of crazy stuff, you know, like
Yeah,
trying to
wearing
get
the
her
meat
name out. Like that
dress
was,
and all that shit. Yeah.
yeah, you know, she's changed a lot since then too, and actually become like just a really seemingly like really good person, and that's not doing all that crazy stuff to try to get attention.
Yeah, well, she got the attention, and then now once the eyes were on her, we're like, oh, she's very talented. So now she doesn't necessarily need to garner that attention anymore.
Yeah.
She already has it.
Yeah, because she's crazy talented. She is really talented. Like she's a good
Just like
actress
she's a
and
New
a
York
good singer.
Italian.
There
She
you
is a New
go.
York Italian.
But going back though too, it's like there was the like you talked about with the other runner. That runner, apparently it was like a high school student and was basically had zero grace, was like, did in the interview say, told people to get over it. Now you got to get over it. Like that. That's
Which
what
is
they
a
said.
very
It's
male
like,
thing to do. It's a very male thing to do.
yeah, it really
Men
is.
don't have generally, of course, everything that I'm saying is general. Men generally do not have as much empathy compared to women. Women have more empathy. You want to be seen as a woman, you want me to believe that you're a woman and treat you like such, then act like one. Be very aware of the space you take up. Men, they sit with their legs open. Women, they usually sit with their legs closed. It's a societal, cultural thing. It's true. What?
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, they also have a penis, so they have to sit with their legs open a little bit.
Yeah, you are more aware of the space you take up. It's a thing.
No, you're right. I noticed that the guy that was sitting next to me on the airplane was kind of encroaching on my space a little bit, and I sit on the end, so it's not really. I always sit on the aisle seat, so it wasn't really a big issue. But I was just like, how am I supposed to plug my phone in when your leg's in the way?
And your leg is touching my thigh. Remember Sydney?
I don't like this.
Remember Sydney's Twitter?
What? Oh my God. Yeah, I was talking to her while all that was going on.
I was supposed to be the one on that plane. Vice originally asked me to be in that video, and I couldn't be in it because I was on a road trip with my friend. So I
but
said,
you wouldn't have been on that plane because she was flying back to Texas. Yeah. Well, you know, I remember I told you that story. I was supposed to be on there too. I actually asked you if you were going to be there because I was like, hey, I just got contacted by the producer. I was contacted by the producer, and then I couldn't like immediately jump onto an interview with them.
Was it feminist? It was feminists versus anti-feminists, something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And the trans person and the trans person was a lefty.
Yeah, because I was talking to Sydney when all that was going on because I saw that she had filmed that, and I was like, because I saw her Instagram story, and I was like, talk to her. I'm like, I'm so upset. And then she told me Eli was on it, and I was like, now I'm really upset because not only did I not get to meet Sydney in person, I also couldn't just shut Eli down.
Oh, you would have destroyed her. I don't want to say her, but whatever it is. Right. You destroyed her. You destroyed her.
I was just, it was upsetting. You know, what's interesting, I think I was talking about this with Carrie last week too. You know, I've kind of had my own like dilemmas about some of this stuff. One of the dilemmas is even playing recreational sports. And since I'm playing pickleball, my coordinator keeps wanting me to play in tournaments, like because they're having tournaments. They're like, "You playing?" I'm like, "No, I'm not playing." But I'm like, "What do I do? It's not for any money or anything like that." But I'm like, it still would be unfair for me to play in the female category. I'm like, I don't. So I just haven't played.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think people would find an issue with you because you're very small. What are you, 3 inches taller?
But I'm really good. Yeah, maybe.
Well,
3
I'm
inches
really
taller
good.
than you.
I don't think people
But
have
I've gotten really good. I was a natural at the game, Arielle. You saw it.
You were good at the beginning. You were very good.
But
and that was almost
it was almost a year ago. Yeah, maybe when you come up, we'll go play.
Oh yeah, I'll bring my paddle. We're gonna go play.
Yeah,
sure.
we'll go up. We'll go to the gym and play.
Yeah.
They have Yeah, they'll have open play when we go up there, and it's actually Tuesday nights. They have advanced, which is generally 4-0s and above. I've not played up there when they do that, but they would probably welcome us.
I'm a good solid 3-8, 4-0 at the moment.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
I'm a 3. Yeah. I'm about a 3-5. So
you're probably a 3-5. Yeah. That's good though. That's excellent. That's what most people are. Most 3-5. Yeah. You get the most games.
Yeah, that's what we get. And then but then doing panels like that, like doing like feminist panels, I had to really kind of think through my thoughts on doing feminist panels, because I did a panel at Freedom Fest last year that was why free speech is a feminist issue. And that's what the whole funny thing was. Actually, nobody on this panel was a feminist except for Avens O'Brien, who was like the moderator. It was me, Salome, Olivia Rondeau, and Terry Kibbe, and all of us, everybody was like, we're not really feminists. And Olivia was like, I don't know why I'm on this panel. I'm not really a feminist. And that's when I was like, I don't know why I'm on this panel. I'm not really a woman.
She is not. I filmed with her. Yeah, I filmed with her when I was in LA. I fucking love her, by the way. The opening to our video was like, she's like, what did she say? She's like, yeah, I'm half black and half gay.
She's actually here this week in Atlanta, so we're gonna hang out on Thursday. Yeah, we're going out Thursday. Yeah. But yeah, and so I really, when I thought through it, I was like, why wouldn't I be on a feminist panel? If I want to make women realize that I'm not a threat, and most trans people are not a threat, and I really want to get my message to the point, why wouldn't I go on a panel where I'm speaking to women? It's not really me. It's like, people would be like, well, why would you be on there? You would be taking up a woman's spot. I'm like, well, like the vice panel, it wasn't a women's panel. It was a vice panel, and they could have chose whoever they wanted. It wasn't a woman's panel talking about feminism. I understand that you would have mostly women on there talking about feminism, but to have like a trans person like me on there and defending, the fact that woman means adult human female, that could have been really powerful.
I think that's the only way people, having somebody like you or Blair or Buck is unfortunately the only way a lot of these people are even going to listen. It's unfortunate. It's the same with black people, right? Like you could tell people over whoever isn't racist or whatever we said isn't racist, but unless you hear from a black person, they're going to still call you racist.
Yeah, exactly. But please don't put me in your trunk. I don't want to be in there.
My friend Mel said she wants to go play pickleball with us. Mel, once you get better, I'll think about it. I heard you were playing like shit lately. She was texting me earlier this morning. She's like, I play my back. Yeah, I'm like, we're getting old. But
is that down there in Florida or up north?
No, Mel's up in Illinois.
Oh, okay.
She's up. Oh yeah, but I'm sure she's played other places too. She's a truck driver. She drives everywhere.
Oh, actually, I know people. Yeah, you take your paddles anywhere, and you can usually find a place to play.
My friend Chris is in Mexico. He's like, should I take my paddle? I'm like, they will have pickleball courts there. Of course they did.
Yeah, they have them everywhere. I've thought about. Typically, when I've been traveling, a lot of my locations have kind of been in the middle of nowhere. And then I was traveling. I went to Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, so it's freezing up there right now. So I'm like, I'm not gonna be playing. But
I'm not going to be soon.
See, we have indoor pickleball courts at the gym. So
yeah, we have indoor courts here. I got another 2 minutes for you, girls. I gotta go soon.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I gotta eat.
Yeah, and that's actually all I had was that last story. But thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun. I always love hanging out with you. I will see you in a couple weeks, but let everybody know where they can find you if they don't know.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Arielle. And Mel, yes, I did. She goes, no, you didn't. I said, yes, I did. I'm the queen.
I love it. I love it. And like I said, everybody, thank you all for joining. This was actually a really good stream tonight with a lot of people commenting. Let everybody know we're doing this weekly. I appreciate everybody showing up and coming and hanging out in the chat. Follow me across all social media platforms, and I will see you next time.